we have our bracket coming up. We all know what it is. We got Drexel that first game. And I want to talk and get into a little bit more about what Illinois has to do in order to make it through this bracket. In my opinion, they have one of the toughest runs that they have to run. So if anybody hadn't seen Drexel play, haven't seen Loyola Chicago play, haven't seen Georgia Tech play, haven't seen Oklahoma State play, haven't seen San Diego State play, and let's not forget the team that beat us early on was Rutgers. They don't play. And then you have Houston down there at the bottom waiting on us. What does Illinois have to concentrate on? And Steve, I'm going to give you the defensive end since you were a defensive specialist and let you take that. And you give me the offensive end, Sean. What does Illinois have to work on to get their offense clicking against some of these really good teams?
Defense-wise, see, your bracket looks a little bit different from mine, Deon. just to put that out there, but
Drexel, I got the one CBS put up. That's the only one I have.
But did you fill it out?
No, not yet. Not yet.
That's my point. See, mine is filled out.
Oh, you've already filled it out?
Yes.
So then that means you're going to tell us who you got winning that thing at the end, right?
Illinois.
My man.
I've been on Twitter. I've been on IG. I've been blocking Michigan fans. They're like, "Oh, you just hating on Michigan because you lost in '89." What?
You should say, didn't they just beat the crap out of you?
Yeah, I mean, but anyway. So let me give defensively. Drexel is kind of one of those Cinderella stories. I think they're happy to get into the tournament. They've not seen anything like Illinois. They've not seen the defensive pressure that Illinois can put on their perimeter, and let alone interior-wise, they just don't have the size to compete with Illinois. I've got Georgia Tech beating Loyola Chicago. Now, Loyola Chicago is #1 defensive efficiency rating in the country.
Yeah,
they're an elite defensive team. But again, I don't care if you got Sister Jean and some divine intervention. Ain't nobody seen 7 foot 285 that can move like that, right? So Loyola wants to slow you down, be a grind out defensive team, or a grind out lower possession game. Illinois is fine with that. That's in the Big Ten. So if you limit Krutwig, he's kind of like a point center. Excellent player. He could get Kofi in foul trouble, but I think this is where Georgie Bashanis-Vili will come in and be, a really good defensive big if that is indeed the case. But I have Georgia Tech beating Loyola Chicago. Georgia Tech is a team that forces a lot of turnovers. They've got Moses Wright, the ACC Player of the Year. Isn't that right, Sean?
Yeah.
Moses Wright.
Yeah.
And so they play a scattered kind of helter-skelter, forced turnovers type of game. Illinois has got too many guards that can handle the basketball for that. I don't see a problem there. I've got Tennessee advancing to the Sweet 16 against Illinois. Tennessee is up and down. They've got great athletes. I'm not sure about their guard play, and I don't trust Rick Barnes in the tournament. I just don't. I don't think he makes enough adjustments. So I think Illinois could blow them out, actually. In the Elite Eight, I've got Houston fighting their way through West Virginia, San Diego State. People think I'm crazy, but I love this Houston team.
Yeah.
And if Houston and Illinois meet in the Elite Eight, just don't think Houston has the size. They've got the moxie, they've got the heart, they've got the athleticism, and their guards can match up pretty well with the Illini. But that big boy in the middle is he's a different matchup problem. And I just think Illinois has too much depth. They're too versatile for a team in Houston that doesn't particularly want to get up in the 80s and 90s. They would much rather play 60s, be physical, kind of, walk the ball off the floor. Illinois will not have a problem, in my opinion, defensively getting through that region.
Well, I'll tell you this, and Sean, I'm going to let you hop on because I know Steve got about 2 minutes and he got to hop off of here. I agree with you 100% on basically everything you said on there. I think Illinois' size, I think what they do defensively and how they help is going to really cause anybody that they play in this problem. Illinois doesn't just help one time. I mean, they got 2 and 3 and 4 helps anytime. So, you would think that ball movement would limit it or drives would limit it. I mean, I watched them against Oklahoma, against Ohio State and Michigan and all these things with multiple helps. And Brad has those guys believing and understanding that defense is what's going to lead the way. And you nailed it right on the head that they're scoring almost 80 points a game. So if I'm going to stop you on this end, then you better sure enough be able to stop me on the other end. And I don't think they can do that. But big fella, I know you had a cutoff. Are you still good for a few more minutes or do you need to hop off?
No, I'll wait until they call me and then I'll let you know.
Sounds good, brother. I appreciate it. I want you here the whole show. So I'm gonna try to keep you and try to steer you personally. So don't worry about that. But Sean, you heard what Big Papa said. What you got on the offensive end? Because you're gonna run into some good defensive teams. Yeah. And there are some guys on here like Loyola, as he said, slows it down. Houston slows it down. What does Illinois have to do offensively to not be slowed down? Because you and I both know we've seen enough of their games. They can go through some droughts, and there's some things that cause them problems. What do they have to do to get beyond those?
Yeah, and you just mentioned it. So if the game does get slow, the obvious answer is throw it to the big fella, right? I mean, that's what you do. Kofi needs touches. But it's not as simple as just give him the ball. It's how do they get him the ball? Because that's going to be a focus point for all the other defenses is how do we stop Kofi? And I think this staff has done a really good job here, especially as of late, of how they've gotten him the basketball. And what you really need to do is feed him from the top of the key, right? Because if you feed him from the top of the key, there's no help side defense on the backside. So you've seen teams that have tried to front him. You just throw over the top. There's nobody on the backside. He just goes up and gets it. And then if they try to play behind him, he's just going to punish them and put them underneath the basket and catch it deep. So what happens then is the wings start helping, right? Start creeping in, and that's allowing some kicks to the corners for open shots. And it also allows then for players to fly out of control at those corner shooters. And now they're driving baseline, and Kofi's got his man pinned. So there's no help there at the rim, and you're getting some easy baskets, that way. So I think it's so important that they have to get Kofi involved. Stephen touched on it there. Nobody has anybody that can match up in this entire bracket that can match up with him defensively. You have to take advantage of that. If you go into a field goal drought, the easiest way to get buckets is to find an easy one around the rim, and Kofi's your answer. So I think getting him in high ball screens where he can dive into the middle and then feeding him from the top, I think are two really big keys for Illinois. And they've done that successfully for the last probably month or so. And that's why he's been playing extremely well. So that get him involved anytime you can. And then you mentioned it, Stephen mentioned it, there's a lot of teams that want to slow this down, right? And that might be the only way that you can beat Illinois in this bracket. When you look at some of the teams that could be potential roadblocks for him is slowing the game down. So Illinois got to speed it up. And I know Stephen took the defense a little bit, but defense needs to turn to offense. Yep. This team is so good in the open floor. So if they can get stops, if they can block out and get, first shot misses and get those in the transition, this team's dangerous when they get out in the open floor, and whether it's getting to the basket or shooters finding spots on the wings to get some open threes. So really get out and run. But, it all starts with the big man. He opens everything up inside for everybody else.